NXT Takeover Chicago. I would call it a great show. Josh would call it glorious. I am your host, Red, and this is the review of NXT Takeover Chicago. NXT Takeover, I really thought was put together really well. Me and Josh always agree on that. Every time an NXT comes on, it doesn't matter what the card looks like, it's going to be a good show because everybody puts 110% into every match that they have. And I feel like all the matches tonight, they all did that. It doesn't matter if you haven't seen some of them before or some of them are just, you've seen them wrestle a million times before. NXT is always exciting to watch. Now let's talk about the main event. The main event I really thought was put together really well. We've seen the Authors of Pain and we've seen DIY, Tommaso Ciampa, and Johnny Gargano against each other, but we've seen them in various triple threat matches with the revivals. Since the revival have been called up to Raw, we've seen other tag teams trying to go for that number one contendership, but I feel like DIY and the Authors of Pain go very well with each other, and they got the main event tonight. We've seen plenty of times the top prize in NXT right now is the NXT Championship, and we've seen that in the main event because it's the top championship. We've seen the NXT Women's Championship being a main event as well. So I think this, ever since I can remember, this is the first time that the NXT Tag Team Champions have been in the main event, and it's for a ladder match this time. So it was actually a pretty good match all through the whole thing. We've seen a lot of big spots from DIY and Authors of Pain. And Authors of Pain, they're two big guys, and they play that off very well to where DIY, they move around a lot more faster. They're flying all over the place. They're doing a lot more aerial moves just to counteract of what Authors of Pain do. At one point in the match, we saw Paul Ellering come out, and he got Johnny Gargano off the ladder. And then once he got Johnny Gargano off the ladder, he pushed the ladder out of the way. And he just didn't want, he's going for his guys. He turns around, he takes a super kick right in the face or right in the jaw from Johnny Gargano, and he goes out of the ring. And he was pretty much laid out on the floor, not just out, but he was just laying there gingerly. But we saw more spots. We saw the ladder spot that was with Authors of Pain, both on ladders themselves, and DIY went up on one of the tallest ladders, both of them back to back, and they jump off. And they jump on the Authors of Pain, which are on their own ladders, and one goes through, the other doesn't, but the impact is there. Another point in the match was when Authors of Pain got the ladder and they were about to just battering ram. They were about to battering ram Tommaso Ciampa until Johnny Gargano came in, pushed him out of the way, and he took the sacrifice, and they just laid him out with the battering ram with the ladder right in the face, and he just went fully flipped over. And there was another part where Authors of Pain were going up. Well, one of them was holding the ladder, and the other one was going up for to go get the belts. Tommaso Ciampa came right behind him, and kind of back slammed him right into a ladder that was laid out on, and it snapped the ladder right in half. But at the end of it, Authors of Pain, they got the win at the end because DIY went up and they were holding on to the belts, but then they were holding on to the hook that was holding the belts, and then they fell onto Authors of Pain, got them into their move, double power bomb, and then they both went up. They got the belts. And so Authors of Pain still NXT Tag Team Champions, but the big moment of the night was when we all thought that the show was going off because they showed the copyright credits and all that, everything, that comes on at the corner. It's at this point that we thought the show was over, and we saw Tommaso Ciampa embrace Johnny Gargano at the entryway, and he says some stuff to him, and we thought the show was going to go out until he grabs him, throws him into the entrance wall, and then he just goes ballistic over on Johnny Gargano. He starts wailing him down on the ground while he's down, and at this point, everybody's just stunned in the crowd. Everybody just doesn't know what to do. Everybody starts booing, and that's when he kind of just looks at and just stands over him. He backs up a little bit, and he looks at him. He just like Johnny Gargano looks up at Tommaso Ciampa and is like, "What's going on?" Like he just looks confused. That's when Tommaso Ciampa just ran right at him and just nailed him with the knee right in the face. And he just has this look on his face, like, it's a look that we've seen before. I seen it before in other takeovers when DIY lost, and I think this is something that's been brewing up for a while. At this point, Johnny Gargano is on the little stage that the announcer table is at, and he's just laying there. And Tommaso Ciampa backs up a little bit more, and he pulls down his knee pad and also the brace that he has on that knee, and he runs at Tommaso Ciampa and nails him with another knee. And he's sitting there while Tommaso Ciampa just doesn't. He's trying to pull himself up on Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa then looks at the announcer's table, and then he picks up Gargano, puts him on the table. And then while Gargano's just laying there, Ciampa's just looking down at him, and then he picks him up. He gets him into the Celtic Cross, or if you want to call it the Crucifix Powerbomb, and he kind of gets over onto the edge of the table. And there's tables that's right at the bottom of the little platform that the announcer table is, and he jumps off, and then he plants him through those tables. And at this point, everybody's irate. There's a lot of chants going on. There's a lot of "fuck you, Ciampa" chants. There's a lot of "you suck" or "asshole." And when he went through the tables, there was the whole "holy shit" chants and everything. But a lot of people weren't happy about this. DIY was one of the biggest tag teams in NXT history, and I think that a lot of people are just confused of why these two broke up. And maybe we'll get some answers in the following NXT shows, but overall, how I felt about the match, I felt that the match was, if I had to rate the match, I would probably give it I would give the match a good 8 out of 10. I don't know if any other people will give it an 8 out of 10, but I really liked it. It had a lot of good high spots. It had, it was two big men against two little men, but they made it work, and I am sticking to that. I'll stick with an 8 out of 10. Now this match, the next match that I feel like is the best match of the night. This is the match that I will give. I would rate this match 10 out of 10, and maybe not a lot of people will agree with me, but I feel like this was the best match of the night. This was the match that was hard to follow. It doesn't matter if it was the match afterwards. I feel like it was the best match to follow throughout the whole show. We saw Tyler Bate put up his United Kingdom Championship against Pete Dunne, the number one contender, and these two just had a very, very good physical, technical, just these guys were even just at one point punching each other. This is how crazy it got. These guys were in a brawl. These guys were throwing fists at each other. This was like watching two British dudes just go at it. They just, throw down right there. And these guys these guys brought out everything. And I got to give it up to these two British dudes, because Pete Dunne is a good wrestler. Tyler Bate there's a reason why he is the first United Kingdom champion. These guys just had one physical match, and we just saw like Pete Dunne put Tyler Bate in a triangle hold, and he went full MMA on him. He was punching him, he was elbowing his head up until Pete Dunne picked him up and powerbombed him. But these guys were going back at it with one another, back and forth, and it was just so good. It was just so physical. It was so technical. It was what two people should do for one of the top prizes, for the United Kingdom Championship. These guys were tough as hell. I mean, we saw the crowd even get behind Pete Dunne because they were all chanting bruiserweight. They wanted to see him become the champion. And it was until we got to the end where Pete Dunne got the bitter end right on Tyler Bate. And it was just right when he got that count of 3, everybody exploded. All the crowd was popping for him. He finally did it. He finally got the championship. Like I said, this was the match of the night. I feel like this was the top match of the night. And I would give this match, I would rate this match 10 out of 10. This is how good that match is. If you guys have not seen this match yet, I would advise you to go and watch just for this match. This match alone was the best match out of the whole show. Now we had the next match, which was for the NXT Heavyweight Championship, and this one wasn't too bad. Hideo Itami, I really haven't watched him all too much in NXT, just because he did come to NXT tours when it was on the boom rise and everything, and then he got injured, and then he was out for a while. Then he came back, and then at a house show he got injured again, and then he was out again. So he's been gone for a good while. I mean, we saw everybody come from Finn Balor to Shinsuke Nakamura. The four horsewomen did their own thing. We saw Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. Everybody was doing all their things, and then Hideo Itami was out, and he got the number one contendership. He went against Bobby Roode for the NXT Heavyweight Championship. Hideo Itami, I know, is a good wrestler. I've seen him before a few times, but I'm not really, all too much into him. But just seeing him in the match tonight, he's not as charismatic as say like someone like Shinsuke Nakamura or somebody, but when he gets in there and he does his own thing, and he's going against somebody as arrogant as Bobby Roode, because Bobby Roode is just going to be in there and say, I'm the best, I'm so glorious, and whatnot. And this match, I feel like, was a pretty good match. It was pretty physical with each other. I don't know. I just feel like it kind of felt flat in a way. They had some pretty good spots on each other, but I feel like just in my own knowledge of knowing about these two, Bobby Roode has more experience. I would say, just looking back on his career, I just think he has a little bit more experience. Now, these guys, I'm not saying didn't have a good match. These guys had a good physical match with each other, and there was times where Hideo Itami was a step ahead of Bobby Roode, but then when Bobby Roode got in charge, it was his time. And there was at one point we saw Bobby Roode get Hideo Itami into the glorious DDT, but then he kicked out. And even down the line, we saw Hideo Itami get the GTS on Bobby Roode. When Bobby Roode got hit with it, he rolled out. But the thing is that this is in Chicago, GTS, CM Punk. And even in the crowd, people were chanting CM Punk, but then there was boos for the CM Punk chant as well. Like, people were drowning out the CM Punk chant because it's different. I feel, in my own opinion, it's different this time because this is NXT. NXT is more respectable with the fans because these guys wrestle. NXT wrestlers, they wrestle each other. But these two, they went at it and everything, and Hideo Itami went to go try for the GTS again, but Bobby Roode got him into the glorious DDT. He held on to him, picked him back up, and did a little bit more into it with the next glorious DDT, turned him around, and then pinned him. Bobby Roode is still your NXT World Heavyweight Champion. And if I had to rate this match, my rating for this match would probably be, I'll give this match a 7 out of 10. It wasn't bad, but it could have been better. But still, I think the best man won, in my opinion. The next match that we saw was for the NXT Women's Championship. We saw the champion, Asuka, put up her title against the challengers, Ruby Riott and Nikki Cross. And this match was pretty good. I really like this match, and anything that Asuka's in, it's pretty good. But initially, it was supposed to be a fatal 4-way, but Ember Moon got injured when that whole spot with when they had just the 3 women left in the Battle Royal on NXT. And I just feel like that this match was actually pretty good. This match was very physical with each other. Nikki Cross is just crazy. Ruby Riott was the favorite, it seemed like, from the Chicago crowd. And I don't know, Asuka just continues to just keep dominating into the women's division. She came out on top with the win. I feel like that Asuka should keep the title. If she gets called up to the main roster, I feel like that she should go undefeated in NXT. Then she should get called up to wherever, Raw or SmackDown, and be dominant there as well, because she is a very good wrestler. She is very physical, and if Josh was here, he would say she is very scary, but I think something like that really, really turns him on. I don't know what's wrong with you, Josh. I really don't. But still, if I had to rate this match, I would give this match a 7 out of 10 as well. It could have been better. There was some missed spots here and there, but overall, I feel like the right woman won. Asuka, I'm a big fan of her, and like I said, I just hope that they keep that title on her when she gets called up, because why not go undefeated? Now, the opening match tonight was Roderick Strong against Eric Young, and these guys, it was kind of like a grudge match with each other because Eric Young said something about Roderick Strong's family when Roderick Strong just had a baby. While he didn't have a baby, his wife had a baby, but you get where I'm going with this. But it was kind of like a grudge match, and it was a good match between these two. I mean, it was it kind of seems crazy because I remember when Ring of Honor was on TV, seeing Roderick Strong on Ring of Honor, and then also seeing Eric Young when he was on TNA. I'm not going to go into TNA at all, but still, it's just crazy how now we see these two in NXT. We see these two with a WWE logo right in back of them on anything, and these guys had a very good match with each other, and I really enjoyed this. This was a very good opening match, and Roderick Strong had a big following with the crowd. People were all into him. And even when he won at the end, his move is just so, the way he did it was just so beautiful. That's what I have to say about that. And at the end of it, he got the win. I feel like this was a very good match. And if I really had to rate this one, I know I give the 2 championship matches a 7, but if I really had to rate this one, I would give this one I would seriously give this one an 8.5 out of 10. And I know a lot of people be like, why would you do that when we had 2 championship matches? Because just how physical these two got with each other. The match was very good and it got the crowd going, and that's just how I feel about the match. I stand by my 8.5 out of 10 with Roderick Strong and Eric Young. And that concludes my review of NXT Takeover Chicago. And overall, I feel like the show was really good. Like I said, all the NXT takeovers, it doesn't matter if the matches on paper doesn't look right to you. If you're like, it looks like it looks okay when you look at it on paper, but still, it's going to deliver. I feel like it always does that. It's always going to deliver. And everybody that was on the card delivered tonight as well. I know tomorrow we'll be doing a review of WWE SmackDown's Backlash, and so make sure you guys come for that. But I'm gonna leave that here. If you guys enjoyed what you heard, make sure you come and leave a like with the video, and also subscribe if you feel like you want to hear some more later on. Also, for, like I said, Josh's sake, just leave a comment because he wants more comments and everything. So hopefully you guys like and subscribe and leave a comment, and we will see you guys next time.